Oh, look. Knackers. What a beautiful day!
Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Let's talk about the nerdy news that you need to know about. It's the only news that matters. It's good news, and we have a whole bunch of it today, so let's not stand on ceremony, Mr. Wayne. Let's talk about it. First up, fellow YouTube reviewer and all-round good brother X-Corpio has the first in-hand review of Jigsaw, and this little Marvel legend, yeah, he looks really good to my eye. I've been wanting someone to go with my beautiful deluxe Punisher, and now this dude with the staples in the face holding his Chevy Chase together, the weird band around his neck, I'm not sure what that's all about, and all the different weapons. This looks like a really good Marvel legend. People have been a little bit sour, a little bit happy sad. It's weird, you know, the Spider-Man reveals came out, people were super hyped for them, but the price increase kind of stuck in our craw, as did the boxes, but this is something to get genuinely excited about. This looks like classic, good old Marvel legends doing what they do best, giving us a badass villain, loads of accessories, and just, I can't wait to get them on my shelf. There's still no word on actual release date or pre-order date yet. Not that I've seen. I can't find it anywhere. I don't know if you guys can, but it's a mystery to me. But whenever I can put my money down for him, I happily will do. Especially because I'm guessing this is going to be one of the nice, normal price points. Well, the new normal. But hey, this time that we're living in, it's all about adjusting to the new normal. So I think it's probably going to be about $23. I will happily fork that over for a figure that I think looks worth every penny. With the gorgeous gross face, the badass weapons, the nice tailored suit, this dude looks the business. Speaking of looking the business, McFarlane have come out with more Mortal Kombat characters. Just when you thought this line was kind of dwindling a little bit, Todd's like, no, don't worry, I've got plenty of more action figures. I'm going to stop doing the Todd voice, it's getting mean. I'm reprimanding myself for that. That's just low-hanging fruit. Todd said, hey, I've got some more... Well, I'm not just going to do a pretend voice. We all know how Todd McFarlane sounds. We're getting more action figures. First of all, Commando Spawn. And this is one that actually they made a big statue of, which I actually got as a gift from my brother-in-law. God bless him. So now you can get him in 7-inch form. And also they've got Nightwolf, and he looks really good, actually. The amount of sculpting and detail and all sort of little nuances going on there, I really dig the look of this guy. And finally, one of the most, I think, toyetic Mortal Kombat characters, Baraka. Or as I used to call him, Baraka, because I am dyslexic and I see words and then I just swap the letters around. We'll get more of that later. But these guys look really cool. They're going to be available July of this year. And you know the best part? You know the real... Oh, it's going to feel so good to say it. Let me just... You know how much they're going to cost? $19.99. Did you hear that? $19.99. Oh, it feels so good to give an action figure price in the teens. Oh, God bless you, Todd McFarlane. I'm not going to do any more impressions of you anymore because you're still giving us badass action figures that are under $20. God bless you, sir. God bless you. Here we are, born to be kings with the masters of the universe. A little Queen action for you there. If you're not familiar with that song, go listen to the entire album, A Kind of Magic by Queen. It's a banger. And that brings us on to Masters of the Universe. Because Mattel have revealed more official images of their Masters of the Universe Masterverse figures, and there's quite a few in here. So some of these we've seen before, but we're getting new images of them. So let me just give you the rundown here. First up, we've got New Eternia Battle Armor He-Man, and this looks just harkening straight back to my 80s childhood with the chest plate that kind of rotates with the battle damage. I totally remember that as a kid. This is a great new interpretation of that previous design. Then we've got New Eternia Beastman, and as you guys know, I don't collect Masters of the Universe, but oh my goodness, this actually looks the tits, if you'll pardon the expression. Look at the fur, like real fur, big, gruesome, angry, toothy looking face, and a huge hulking kind of body. Like, this is one that I could genuinely see myself wanting just for my fantasy monsters kind of display, because Beastman is just a fun character. Just a fun character that toy designers can have fun with when they're willing to spend a little money, have a little fun, put furry stuff on an action figure. That's what they've done here. He looks really awesome. They've also got Revelation Hero as well. And now this is actually where my knowledge of the character starts to get a bit iffy, and I'm like, wait a minute, does that picture correspond to that character? But the good thing is, if you're interested in Masters of the Universe, then you're going to know who these guys better than I am. So it's really not going to make any difference if I say their names, because you're going to know them when you see them. And if I got them wrong, then you would know I was wrong, and therefore you would be right, because you already know them. So what am I even doing here? And then finally they showed us New Eternia Zodak as well. And it's funny because I'm saying that, but actually I don't even know what picture I'm showing at the moment, because I don't know what Zodak looks like. I know who Hordak is. He's the cool white face skull robot looking guy. Zodak though, I'm out. I got nothing. But for you He-Man guys, I'm sure this is great news. You friggin' nerds. Let's keep it with the Masters of the Universe line with the 40th anniversary 7-inch He-Man figure. And okay, this is one that I can kind of sort of get on board with, because I do like my iconic versions of classic characters. Like, if you're only going to get one, you're going to make it a good one. And this looks like a pretty damn freaking good He-Man. So if you're like, I just want to maybe get the ultimate 80s toy collection. You know, I want my Lion-O, my He-Man, my G.I. Joes, my Transformers. Don't know why I'm doing it like this, but you know what I'm saying. Get yourself this He-Man. I might be tempted. You know what? My big problem that gets me buying action figures that I don't need is my brain always goes, yeah, but Dave, action figure of the year. You're gonna want the examples because it might be a contender, which is so crazy. But again, that means I can sell them later, you know? So maybe I might actually buy this He-Man just because he genuinely looks like he might be, if not a winner, at least a contender, maybe within the top 10 for Action Figure of the Year. What do you guys think? Comment below, let me know. One more interesting little tidbit about Masters of the Universe. Mattel have shown their Madsaki Skeletor, and this is pretty amazing looking, actually. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if it's art, but it's interesting. So this dude is an artist, surprise, surprise, who has done his own sort of neon pop art paint job of Skeletor. And this figure is not small. This guy is 11.8 inches. So he's a big old figure. And I mean, he should be, because you want to know the price for this? All right, sit down, gird your loins. $400, which is nice, because then completely out of my price range. I love it when a figure that I kind of sort of think I might like is so expensive that I'm like, well, that's great. I don't even have to agonize about it. Not getting that. But someone's going to. And if they do, they're going to have this amazing, luminous, technicolored Skeletor, who also comes with 2 beautiful looking art prints as well. So if you are like a pop art, super cool, money to burn, I want some funky weird stuff in my bougie bachelor pad apartment, because if you're spending that much on action figures, trust me, you're a bachelor. I know I am. So it looks great. And there's a He-Man that came out before in that same style. So this is for the high-end collector who's got everything. So it's not for your average Joe. And hey, I consider myself to be a very average Joe. Sometimes below average, like when I'm trying to record videos at 10 o'clock at night. I shouldn't do this in the evening, my brain's not firing. But it's kind of fun, because let's face it, you're not here for a good time, you're here for a long time. Anyway, this looks really interesting. Check it out. Now then, this is quite something. It makes me lament not living in the US, because I got to pay import and customs fees and all that jazz, because Mezco are getting into the army building business, because as if just buying Joes or Bats or Hydra Goons wasn't expensive enough. No. You can now army build the Krigs, and the problem with the Krigs is they look really cool. In my eye. I guess some people don't like it. It's all aesthetic, but Mezco are like, oh no. enough people like these guys. So already we had the white pale driver, then we had the red, we had the black, and now we've got the Murder Hornet, which is just the coolest freaking name. And Mezco said, hey, well, if you like that, then you're going to love this, because we're going to sell you a double pack of the white and the red for $150, which actually, like, that sounds like a lot, but it's a Mezco. It works out as $75 each. It's actually not that insane. And if you're sat there going, oh, Dave, how can you complain about Marvel Legends prices when you're paying even that for the... Look at the quality that comes with a Mezco figure, all right? Stop it. I hear that and stop it, all right? You can't, with a straight face, have like a Marvel Legend and a Mezco with cloth goods and light up features, battery operated with a bajillion accessories, and go like, oh, that was more expensive, you're not complaining about that. Yeah, no kidding, Sherlock. Anyway, that's enough about that rant. But if you want to army build Krigs, then you can do. I'm not, because the price would be doubled just to import them. So I'm going to pass on that. I've got my one pale driver. That's good enough for me. But if anyone has a load of disposable income and you want to go completely ham on Mezco Krigs, well, get over to the website, because now's your chance. McFarlane have shown more images of their Chaos Space Marines and Dark Angels. I covered these on the last episode, but I wanted to show some more because they've shown some more images of the actual paint job and what's going in with them, and they just look so badass. And I'm thinking, like, again, like 7-inch, it's bigger than my scales that I like, but freaking Chaos Space Marines, man, they just look so cool. Even the Dark Angels, it's kind of like the future version of like Dark Elves in a way, even though no, actually they do have actual Dark Elves in Warhammer 40k, so shut up, Dave, you don't know what you're talking about. But I do know pretty looking action figures when I see them, and these are some pretty looking action figures. So just take a look, bask in how awesome they are, and then you can also bask, put on your sunglasses, because the future's so cheap. You gotta wear shades. $19.99. Say it with me one more time because it's so good on the ear. $19.99.
And now, if you want a real high-end collectible, you need to get yourself a statue of the Undertaker.
I'm gonna stop that now, because if I did the whole entry like that, we would be here until tomorrow's good news. But there is an Undertaker statue, and yeah, it looks pretty cool. So this is made by Premium Collectibles Studios, and it's going to be released around about the second quarter of next year. So you've got a long time to save up for it, which is good, because it costs about $705. I don't know what goes into statue making, so I don't know if that's good, bad, or indifferent. It seems average for a statue of this size. The amount of details, sort of the sculpting and the paintwork, it looks beautiful. It's the Undertaker. What do you want? You know? And this is kind of like premium era Undertaker, I think. This is when he sort of dropped a lot of the cartoony theatrical gimmicks, and actually, even though he was in the twilight of his career, suddenly turned into a super worker. So this was when he was having WrestleMania main event 5-star matches left and right, and was just cementing his legacy. Actually, no, he was wearing tights by that point. He was getting to that stage. All right, he was getting to that stage. He had got past the awful American badass, transitioning back into the dead man stage, and he was just starting to find his groove. It's like how Undertaker got his groove back, exemplified in statue form. It looks really pretty. If you're a big Undertaker fan, then maybe you can justify the 700 beans. Honestly, if they did like a Bret Hart statue of this kind of caliber, yeah, I think I'd be tempted by that. Speaking of statues, Prime 1 Studios have shown us the DC Concept Joker statue, and this looks like proper scary Joker. And I love scary Joker. You check out the face sculpt on this, not just kind of maniacal, but like just uncomfortable. Like, I'd actually be worried to have this statue in my room because it just looks like a terrifying version. That's why I think the Joker is such an effective villain, because he's just human. But he's terrifying, because he's like the psycho in the pub who seems friendly, but you just know he's going to pop off at any moment and glass someone. That's the Joker, and those are the pubs I used to work in. Let me give you some of the details. So the basic statue is $1,299. Wow! But that's not all. You can also get a more deluxe version, which is $1,499. And the deluxe one has different swap out hands and actually different swap out legs, so you can have them sitting in sort of like different positions. That's still kind of cool. It's not articulated like an action figure, so it doesn't quite hit that sweet spot of interest for me. But the fact that for a couple of $100 extra you can swap out what he's holding and the way he's sitting, hey, look, it's that level of money that's just like another world to me. So I'm not like, oh, that's too expensive or whatever. It's like, no, once you go over a certain amount, I'm like, what's that? £10,000? Yeah, go on then. That's what it costs. Have fun with it. But still, he does look pretty awesome. Now the low end of the high end, it's Hot Toys, and they have done a Kate Bishop from the Hawkeye Disney Plus show. And it looks like you would expect, like I always say for Hot Toys reviews, expensive and beautiful. Looks just like the Kate Bishop actress. Their likenesses are terrific. So good that I don't think I've ever seen a Hot Toy where I get that sense of uncanny valley. I'm always like, no, that's just a great representation of the actor. That's really, really good. So this looks super beautiful. It's $270, going to be available in the third quarter of next year. So you got a long old time to wait. Might even have Hawkeye Series 2 by then. Or Echo, isn't it? We're getting an Echo series. But yeah, I forget the name of the actress. That's terrible. I'm so bad with names. But she looks really good in the Hawkeye role and gear. So I hope we see more of her. Maybe a Young Avengers? I'd be so down for that. In the meantime, though, you can immortalize her on your shelf with this Hot Toys figure. It looks pretty sweet. Cobra Kai! Freaking love Cobra Kai, and apparently so do Diamond Select. They're getting into the Cobra Kai business with 4 Cobra Kai action figures. Recently, the dude who plays Kreese actually appeared randomly on an episode of AEW Dynamite. It was so much fun. He was just like standing in the front row in character, and one of the wrestlers was like, "So what should I do?" He's like, "I told you they were weak. Finish it. No mercy." And it's like, freaking love AEW. So you can get yourself a Kreese action figure and a few others too. Let me read out what they're offering. So there are 2 versions of Johnny Lawrence. You've got both him in his Cobra Kai gear and also in his kind of ridiculous, which you gotta love, Eagle Fang gear. So you got those 2 of Johnny Lawrence. Then you've got a good old Daniel LaRusso, because you've got to have the 2 main protagonists. And then you've got John Kreese. And these look kind of good. I mean, Select always seems to be a bit hit and miss for me. I don't know. I have to kind of like see them in hand, which I probably won't do because this isn't kind of my wheelhouse. You know me, I'm more of a comic book person. But it's fun to report on because the likenesses seem pretty good. But that's all I'm going to say at this point. But for $24.99, pretty soon, you'll be able to find out for yourselves. Now, I didn't mention when I was covering the Hasbro Pulse livestream from a couple of days ago, they had a tease at the end, the cheeky little monkeys. They showed a lab coat, and what could that lab coat be for? Well, I think there's one pretty obvious front runner, Beast. What version of Beast? Well, we don't know, because there are rumors that there is going to be another Beast coming up in a regular wave. So we don't know what version of Beast that might be. Maybe he will be the one with the lab coat. Who knows? But also, eventually, going to have to get an animated Beast as well, and that would lend itself to having the lab coat. And I imagine they would just take the same mold of Beast they had before, put an animated head on him, then maybe give him the lab coat if they were feeling a bit bougie. That could be the one. Or finally, people were saying, well, maybe it's Bruce Banner, but I don't think so. I'm not buying that one. The coat looks too big to be a human Bruce Banner, and B, they probably wouldn't want to do soft goods for like a random Bruce Banner. Unless they did a 2-pack with another Hulk repaint. I don't know. I don't want to give them ideas for that one. But yeah, let your imagination run wild. But also don't, because it's definitely the Beast. Neca are continuing their boys action figure line with Black Noir. 7 inches of blackness. Sounds pretty weird. I don't know why I said it like that. But originally, I think he was a Target exclusive, and now he's popping up on Big Bad Toy Store and a few other places as well. So Neca, you know, like they are hella expensive. They're like $40 each. But then again, Legends creeping up. Well, I say they're creeping up. They're not creeping up to $40 each. They're hovering around $30 for some of the more high-end ones. But this is a nice-looking action figure. You've got... Gosh, I've blanked on all the boys' characters' names, but you know who I'm talking about. Is Starlight, the main girl, and Homelander? There you go, the old grey matter's working again. Still, Black Noir looks kind of cool. You can find him in those different places. Just like Forrest Gump, that's all I have to say about that. Mandalorian potato heads. Something I never thought I needed, but then I saw some pictures and I was like, those are really cute. I'm not going to buy them. I mean, I buy enough stuff that I don't need. I'm not going to get Mandalorian potato heads. But they do look fun, quirky, and ridiculous, and that's what we cover on this show. So, of course, I'm going to talk about Mandalorian potato heads. Nothing else to describe or explain, really. It does what it says on the packaging. So they look super cute, super fun. Definitely something that would be appropriate for little kids in a potato head kind of way, or just for your quirky kind of collector who's like, yeah, I want on my coffee table a Mandalorian potato head, because why the heck not? I love the fact that you can full on take the helmet off and he's got the classic Mr. Potato Head with the moustache and everything underneath. That's actually pretty adorable. So the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, yeah, I can see the appeal. Appeal! Because it's potato. Forget it. Going over to comic book news now, and the universe's deadliest hunter comes to the Marvel universe. Not redundant. The Predator is getting his #1 issue under the Marvel Comics banner this July, and that's kind of cool because it's been over a year since it was announced that Marvel were taking on the Alien and Predator likennesses. Likennesses? No. Licenses. It's tired, guys. I'm not editing this. So we've had a couple of Alien sagas already. There's been a few issues, a few different Alien stories, and they are set completely separate from the 616, which is great. I think that's what we all assumed it was going to be. When I made a video about it over a year ago, reporting on it, I said that was what they were going to do, and then they did it. So, like, Nostradavid over here. Yeah, that wasn't a big suggestion. It's like, well, of course they're not going to have chest bursters launching out of Cyclops' chest. More redundant words. So, yeah, it's a separate Predator story, and it looks like it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be set in the future, which I kind of like. I like Predator stories in space. I get tired of like Predator stories on Earth. It's like, well, no, we've got the movies for that. That's fine. I want to see someone in deep space getting stalked by a predator, or in the case of this story from the write-up, going after a predator for revenge. That sounds kind of cool. So if you're interested in that, then hey, check out your local comic book store in July, and you can pick yourself what. And you can pick yourself up an ugly mother Hubbard. 5K Toys are still bringing the big-time high-end action figure thunder. First of all, showing some images, renders, and concepts of a gigantic looking orc. He looks awesome. Awesome. So if you like your sword and sorcery, fantasy, mythic legions type characters, then yeah, this big bad bruiser, he looks really impressive. You can go over to the 5K Toys website. If you just Google 5K Toys, you can see they got so much stuff that they work on. But this is one that looks like it's going to make a few waves when it eventually comes out. It's still very early stages at the moment, but when more info comes out, I'll let you guys know. More to the point, more reputable websites will find the information, and then I'll just mangle it on this show, but it's kind of fun, isn't it? And then also the big one, which actually might get me to finally purchase my first 5K toy, is they're only doing a Cthulhu. And this thing, we only have the graphical render, but I mean, just look at what's going on here. First of all, Cthulhu is probably one of the most badass fictional creations, like this eldritch god that's so terrifying and unimaginable the human mind cannot fathom it. That's wicked. I'm pretty sure that was a review of this channel. But it looks awesome. Giant octopus head with a massive, hulking, terrifying body with details out the wazoo. This thing, I can't wait to see more of, and when it's finally released, I think I might be plonking down my money for it. Going over to movie news now, Netflix are about to start work, hopefully soon, on a Voltron movie. Live action Voltron. How cool is that? This is being reported by Screen Rant, I think. So it's kind of reputable. It's not just me pulling nonsense out of my backside. I saved that for my figure reviews. So, Voltron, giant anime robot cats that form together to make a giant megazord that fights evil aliens and stuff. Yes, I'm in. Live action? Oh my goodness. Netflix are throwing around crazy money, which is interesting actually, because they posted a big loss recently, which got a lot of investors scared because they predicted they were going to be making huge strides over the last year, and actually they've lost money, and it's like, woohoo! So if you're like sharing your sister's brother's boyfriend's former roommate's Netflix password, you might want to think about getting your own one, because I think they're going to be clamping down on that pretty soon. But it's going to be directed, going back to Voltron, it's going to be directed by the guy who did Red Notice, which was fine, forgettable popcorn fare, and I'd be happy for that to be the case with Voltron too. We might have to wait a little while for Voltron though, because that director, let me check his name, I'm being really lazy here. Rawson Marshall Thurber, that's a mouthful. He's actually going to be directing the second and third parts of Red Notice. Yep, apparently it was so successful they're going to make 2 more sequels back to back. So that's going to push back the start of Voltron. But when he's all done with that, then he's going to move on to the big robot cats. And personally, I'm really looking forward to that in 2030. And speaking of new movie projects, Paramount have announced Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. This is interesting. It's been a long time since we ever had a live-action Dungeons & Dragons movie, and trust me, if you haven't seen the last one from about 20 years ago, that's not a bad thing. It was pretty well accepted to have been terrible. I saw a tiny bit of it. I knew that Jeremy Irons was in it, and he's always good value, but even then I don't think it was enough to save it. But hey, we're going to have another go. Game of Thrones showed that sword and sorcery can find its audience. And Lord knows, Dungeons & Dragons is actually like as big as it's ever been. It's a huge, big market. So a big budget Paramount Dungeons & Dragons movie, yeah, sign me up. I'll happily be there. I'm going to watch this project very closely, see how it develops, because I think there could be some cool stuff going on. Going over to wrestling, and AEW, All Elite Wrestling, have finally announced a combined pay-per-view with New Japan Pro Wrestling. And this is a big deal. So these two companies have been working together for a long time, just doing little, very small kind of talent exchanges. It's like, yeah, you can borrow this guy for a match. Oh, we'll take that guy. But it's always been kind of two separate entities. And I mean, most of AEW's core initial roster made a lot of their fame, in fact, the primary amount of their fame in New Japan. And it was a hell of a blow to New Japan when they left to form AEW. So there's a bit of bad blood there a little bit, some hurt feelings, I think. So the fact they've been able to actually come back together, say like, hey look, business is business, we made a move for ourselves and we've done it, we're successful, and now we want to be successful together. That's freaking awesome. So, on July 26th in Chicago, it will be AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door. And this is going to be a pay-per-view that is going to be quite monumental. I mean, I don't know what the card is going to be. They haven't announced anything yet, so we don't know if it's going to be just New Japan matches and AEW matches. That would be kind of disappointing. Obviously, we want to see a proper super show with the biggest A-list guys from New Japan fighting the biggest A-list main eventers from AEW. I think we'll get a smattering of both things. I don't think they want to give away the whole house on the first day, but still, if we can get some, like, one, maybe, or maybe two dream matches and then a solid undercard, oh, that would be amazing. I was actually toying with the idea of genuinely, I haven't had a holiday in years and years, and I'm like, could I go to Chicago and go and watch this in person? Like, maybe. I mean, if they announce a match like Bryan Danielson against Okada, or freaking CM Punk against Naito, or Omega and Ibushi if they're both back from injury, oh my, the possibilities are endless, and for a wrestling fan, yeah, it's a good time to be alive. This is going to be very exciting. In a cute little story that I always like to see, Josh Bernthal, who played the Punisher in the Netflix series, an all-round good brother from what I can see, was taking a picture with his Punisher action figure, which I just kind of like. Whenever I see an actor posing with their Marvel legend, it's like, you appreciate the cool little toys and stuff too. So someone posted on Facebook, they said they were lucky enough to meet Josh Bernthal at some sort of an event. I don't know what it was. Hopefully it wasn't his house. He wasn't knocking on his door being like, hello, could you sign my action figure? And that wasn't the case. But the fact that he's there, like, posing with a big old smile on his face with his Punisher, I think that's kind of wicked. Just a fun little story I wanted to share. Speaking of things I wanted to share, just before we finish, I was looking up news and information for the stories for today, and I came across these Kotobukiya statues of She-Hulk and Phoenix. And I saw these pictures and I was like, oh man, I can't believe I haven't seen these. When are these going to be released? These look awesome. And I was like looking through, I was like, oh, that's some good anime cheesecake right there. I'm down to clown. Let's take a little look. Oh, Oh, they were released in 2015. Oh, okay. Well, I've got the pictures now, so I'm still going to include them because they're so pretty. Ding! That's why you come back here. It's not relevant news, but it's kind of fun. I mean, they're just like big, ridiculous, cartoony, sexy anime girls. I mean, I'm sorry if that's lowest common denominator, but that's what this channel's all about. So enjoy. If I randomly found one, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? That would look pretty good on my definite bachelor pad. So yeah, there are some pretty statues for you. And finally, I just want to say a big thank you to some of the good brothers recently who have sent me some fan art. And I use the term fan art in like the loosest sense. I know you're not like fans, but you watched the show and you were like, I'm going to do this guy a picture. And these pictures are really awesome. I absolutely love it. I mark out for this kind of stuff. Seeing pictures and cartoons like this, I pop for it. So guys, thank you so much. That's really, really awesome. When I redecorate, I'm going to get them printed off and put up because, yeah, that's super awesome. So thank you so much for that, guys. And thank you so much, everyone else, for watching this episode of Good News. It was kind of epic. I get a little rambly when I'm doing this late at night. I promise I won't do this too often because it's exhausting. So what did you think of the news stories we covered today? Comment below, let me know. And if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then join the 6-1 clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And if you want to go one step beyond in supporting the channel, you can do by going over to patreon.com/displaying model behavior. Just like these saviors of model behavior did. Throw a couple of bucks my way and you can watch all the exclusive videos on there, including my brand new review of the Alley Viper from G.I. Joe, who's just so brilliantly bonkersly awesome. I really dig him. So guys, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.